All right, Dan, the pressure is on because beef tenderloin is an expensive piece of meat.
That's true.
There's a lot at stake.
I knew you were going to get me with that joke. So, you know, we're not going to deal with the beef first.
All right.
Not that I'm intimidated, but we're going to make a sauce first. All right, and you might be wondering, why would we make a sauce? We have all this time. We're going to be grill roasting a tenderloin, but it's a no-cook sauce. And with no-cook sauces, they need some time to sit and really develop flavor. And the specific one we're making today is called a Charmoula. So we're going to start it with 3/4 of a cup of cilantro leaves. And I have 4 cloves of minced garlic, a teaspoon of ground cumin, a teaspoon of sweet paprika. I've also got a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne.
Ooh, a little
spice.
kick.
Yep, a little spice in here. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to pulse this together until it's kind of coarsely chopped, 12 to 15 pulses. All right, that looks good. Smells good too. Start to break all that stuff up in there. Then I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of lemon juice and just pulse this in. So I'm done with the food processor. I'm still gonna add some extra virgin olive oil in, but we wanna do that by hand. And the reason is when you add olive oil in a food processor or a blender, anything that's really violent in that way, it actually turns it a little bit bitter. We don't want that. So now I've got a 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil and I'm just gonna whisk this in. Now this needs to sit, as I mentioned, at least an hour at room temperature, but you can do it days ahead and leave it in the fridge. Wanna bring it up to room temperature and re-whisk before you use it. Okay, so now we can focus on the beef.
Yeah.
And I see you've got some over here.
I do. Now, the interesting thing about both of these pieces of meat is they're both beef tenderloin roasts. They both cost about $100. Now, obviously, there's a big difference. This one is an untrimmed beef tenderloin. It's called a pismo, and it might save you a few dollars per pound, but you have a lot of work to do here to remove this extra fat and the silver skin and trim it out. And this is known as the Chateaubriand, where all the work has been done for you by the butcher. And for my money, this is what I like to buy.
This is a 3-pound Chateaubriand. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that it cooks in a really even shape and comes out looking beautiful. And we're going to do that by tying it. I'm going to tie it at 1.5-inch intervals. So what I like to do is bring my strings all in line, so I kind of space it out before I tie them up.
I do the same thing. And notice he's doing that extra twist on his first knot with every tie, because that helps the twine stay in place while you tie it again.
All right, so there we go. I'm just going to trim off the extra string here so it doesn't catch fire on the grill. So now it's time to season our roast. We've got 2 1/4 teaspoons of kosher salt. And we also have a teaspoon of pepper. Next up, we have a teaspoon of baking soda. So baking soda is a little bit of an odd ingredient to put onto the outside of a roast. We usually see it in cookies, but it serves a really important purpose. We tend to find that tenderloin doesn't brown all that well when we put it on the grill. And the reason is it doesn't have a lot of fat on the exterior, really not very much at all. That fat helps browning. Think about a ribeye or something like that. It gets nice and brown. So we raise the pH by adding baking soda. And when we do that in cookies, they get browner, and the same thing happens on the meat. So I have a teaspoon of baking soda. Finally, I have 2 teaspoons of vegetable oil. This, again, is going to help with browning. So I'm just going to stir this together. All right. Nice messy job. Just want to get in all the crevices. Okay, so that's pretty good coverage. I even got the ends on there. So I'm going to transfer it over to this baking sheet. We'll set this aside basically while we're getting the rest of it ready and while we're heating up the grill. Okay, so we want really good grilled flavor, not just color on this roast. A lot of people have some misconceptions about what produces grilled flavor. So most people think it's the coals. They don't really give a ton of flavor to the meat. What really works is when you get juices and fat dripping off the meat onto coals or those flavorizer bars in your gas grill. They vaporize, it comes up and condenses back on the meat. So you get a ton of new flavor compounds just stuck right onto it. Tenderloin doesn't have a lot of fat. We don't get a ton of that. So we looked around the kitchen, tried to find something that was fatty, juicy, that we could put on the grill near it and actually get that benefit.
And I see some gorgeous looking bacon over there.
You do, and we're not gonna do what most people do with bacon and tenderloin, which is wrap it up.
Yeah.
Right, we don't want it to taste like pork or bacon. We just want this fat to render onto the coals. And we came up with a really cool technique. So what I'm doing is weaving back and forth through these 3 pieces of bacon, basically getting them on there as if you would skewer meat for something like satay. But then, once it's on, I'm going to scrunch it up so it's a really tight little bundle, kind of like a little accordion. And this is going to render a lot more slowly. So we're not going to have these huge flare-ups, we're going to have nice little flavorful ones. So I'll pop it on the sheet here.
Bacon skewer.
All right, let's head out to the grill and I'll show you how it works.
Sounds good.
So we've got our beef out here, and I've got the grill already heating up. So this has been on high, all of the burners for 15 minutes, so really nice and hot. What I'm gonna do is turn the primary burner down to medium. and I'm gonna turn the other burners off completely. So we're setting up 2 heat levels. We're gonna have
Okay.
a really nice hot area for searing, and then a cooler side that we're gonna use to actually cook the meat through.
Great, so you're almost setting the grill up to be more like an oven.
Exactly, yep. So I'm gonna take my grill brush and scrape it down, and then I have some oil here. So this oil is gonna help in a couple of ways. One, it's gonna be a bit more non-stick. It also helps with browning, so we'll get better grill marks. And it's good to go over it a number of times. You're basically building up a little non-stick layer. Now time for the beef. So we're gonna start on the hot side. I'm gonna put it down diagonal on here because it's a pretty big piece. We're gonna be able to fit it all on there, all on the hot side. So we're gonna keep this lid shut, which is important for a gas grill to get better heat retention. And we're gonna cook it about 12 minutes, rotating it every now and then, nice and brown all over. Okay, so that's been 12 minutes.
Ooh, that's handsome.
Nice browning all over. All right, so I'm gonna move this to the cooler side. So we wanna be about 7 inches from the primary burner. If you move it all the way over here and you have a large grill, it's not gonna be the same temperature. So that's perfect. So now it's time for the bacon.
The sacrificial bacon.
This needs to go over the primary burner. We want it to slowly render and drip down on those bars, vaporize up, and give us good smoke on the meat. So we're gonna try and maintain this grill at 300 degrees. We're gonna go for 50 to 75 minutes. We're looking for 125 in the center. Okay, so it's been an hour. Let's see what's happening in here.
Ooh, that's a looker.
Looks beautiful, doesn't it? So we're gonna take the temp. We're looking for 125 degrees, and that looks perfect. That's
Nailed it.
great. Nice and medium rare. So I will transfer it over here onto our carving board. And this needs to rest for 20 minutes, and we're gonna bring it inside. In the meantime, I'm gonna tint it with foil. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes of resting, and that's all we need to wait. Let's take a look.
Yay!
It looks good, doesn't it?
It does look good. It's gonna look better on my plate.
Yes, it is. We're just gonna use some scissors to clip off the twine here. So I'm gonna have to slice it into 1/2-inch slices.
All right.
But I can give you more than one.
Oh,
I don't want you to think that's all you're gonna get.
Yeah, you would have had a little problem on your hands.
Definitely. Oh, that looks good.
Look at that. I mean, there is no gray band whatsoever, and it is the most perfect form of medium rare I've ever seen.
Give you a couple pieces.
Oh, right from the center. You must like me.
I do. All right, now before you dig in, I'm gonna re-whisk our charmoula. So you can see it kind of settles out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't even think I need a knife for this.
You could
I
probably
mean,
just go with the fork.
You know, it looks like it's gonna cut like butter.
It eats like butter, that's for sure.
That is so tender. And the thing about tenderloin, sometimes it's a bit mushy. This isn't. It actually has a little bit of chew, and it tastes beefy.
Absolutely.
Dan, this is the best beef tenderloin I've ever eaten.
That's what I want to hear.
For the ultimate grill-roasted beef tenderloin, rub the meat with a little salt, pepper, baking soda, and oil to add flavor and help the meat brown. Then, sacrifice a few pieces of bacon to punch up that smoky grill flavor. So from the test kitchen to your kitchen, a grill-roasted beef tenderloin that's well worth the money. Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.